Unbeknownst to many, I am half Russian. My mother immigrated here in her early 20s and therefore I was raised within Russian traditions alongside my father's. And with this comes the topic of national and ethnic food. Now, when people think of staple Russian dishes, they most commonly think about borscht or beet soup and vodka. But that only scratches the surface of Russian food, as one of my favorite dishes growing up was actually blini. I remember eating it as a child and making it alongside my mom, and I would fill it with Nutella and strawberries while my mother would go the more traditional route and put salmon and cream cheese. Though most people think of this as a Russian crepe, blini is actually a very culture-rich dish that served religious purposes. And this seemingly very basic food served as a religious symbol, contributes to a large widespread traditional holiday, and is a popular dish with many variations. What blini is a pancake made of wheat, eggs, and milk. According to the Moscow Times, they can vary in style depending on the area. Buckwheat blinis tend to be more common in central Russia, while Siberia offers thin and transparent blinis. They used to be baked in a skillet and inserted within an oven, but nowadays they're fried in butter on pans, as they're spread with butter and are commonly topped with jam or caviar for sweet and savory variations. In terms of historical context, East Slavic people consider blini as a symbol of the sun due to the round form in pre-Christian times, and they were prepared at the end of winter to honor the rebirth of the new sun in the spring, as the sun is an important religious symbol as it brings warmth, crops, and health as opposed to the cold and darkness of harsh Russian winters. And this is still an ongoing tradition, occurring today, usually before the first week of Lent. This holiday is known as Maslenitsa, or Butter Week, or Pancake Week. The name Maslenitsa originates from the Russian word masla, which means butter, as a nod to the long-standing tradition of spreading butter on the dish. This long-standing tradition is the only pagan holiday approved by the Russian Orthodox Church and included in the church calendar, signifying its great popularity and importance. It is also the oldest surviving Slavic holiday, according to archaeological evidence in the 2nd century AD. Meat is forbidden to Orthodox Christians, but this would be the last week in which eggs, milk, and cheese are permitted for them. So to celebrate, the Russian Orthodox Christians like to celebrate with this iconic food. According to NPR.org, the national public radio, Maslenitsa is also compiled of many other events throughout the week, such as organized fistfights to represent the Russian spirit and performing bears. It is a week-long festival that can be commonly compared to Mardi Gras in New Orleans, as an overall celebration of food and festivity and friends and family. But of course, the main star is the blini, as you eat it with your loved ones and offer it to the poor, and so on. But blini isn't only a special dish eaten during this one specific holiday, but is the staple dish eaten throughout the year and many parts of the day. Apart from the ancient sun worshippers believing blini to be a symbol of the sun, it also serves ancient purposes for the dead, according to folk ways today. We also have Slavic traditions of ancestor worship, in which we regularly offer food and light candles within our homes to our past ancestors and relatives. And blini is an extremely common food to offer. The thinness of the pancake is said to symbolize the thinness of the barrier between the living world and the dead. It essentially closes the barrier and brings us closer to our loved ones. This dish is also meant to bookend every Russian person's life, as it was offered to mothers upon childbirth and served at every funeral feast. Blini became a symbol of the life cycle due to not only the ceremony of its conception, but also its circular shape, symbolizing the circle of life. I identify with this specific part of my culture because this is a dish that I've eaten since my early childhood and still eat to this day. Even later in the month, on March 11th, I plan on celebrating Maslenitsa with my mother and my family by making blini. We've also regularly offered this dish to our relatives, such as my great-grandmother and my grandfather, and I've really connected with the sentiment. I've only known blini to be a yummy food from my childhood, but I come to appreciate the culture surrounding it and keep those traditions very close to my heart. It goes to show how food transcends being simple dishes, but can instead bring people together. It can contribute to culture and long-standing traditions and have variations along the way. The extreme symbolism between the life, sun, death, and the circle of life also shows how food can break barriers and become something more. Blini is not only a food, but a reflection of life in which I have utter appreciation for.